St. Paul in the second reading speaks about things about which we are anxious. Our anxieties are likely many. North Korea, ISIS and terrorism, oil prices, tax cuts and deficits, an unstable economy, flu season. Will my job still be here in 5 years? The breakdown of our social fabric, a growing divisiveness in our society. What will become of my kids? Will they stay in the church? Where will I go to college or grad school? How do I compare with others? What if I fail? Have I saved enough for retirement? What will become of my aging parents? Maybe you're anxious about the move to the new church and how that will all go. So am I. So much uncertainty. So many things about which to be anxious. So much that we can't control. We watch the news, it worries us. We read the paper, anxieties increase. It just seems to be bad news all around. So what do we do about it? What do we do when, as St. Paul writes, we are anxious about the things of the world? St. Paul puts it as the difference between being unmarried and only worrying about things of the Lord, and being married and thus being anxious about things of the world. I don't know what it was like in St. Paul's day, but it seems that today we all suffer from some anxiety, some worldly care. We all have them. Maybe it's some of the things I named. You probably have others. So what do we do when we're anxious about the things of this world? Where do we go with our uncertainty and with our anxieties? In uncertainty, we turn to Jesus. Now hear me out. This can easily come across as a homily where I propose to you that you just simply push the Jesus button and all your cares magically go away. We know it's not like that. We know that even people with a deep and abiding relationship with the Lord have things that they worry about, have anxieties. This is not some pious sentiment that Jesus will fix all your problems. Jesus doesn't just snap his fingers and make it perfect. It doesn't happen that way, and we all know it. But what Jesus can do when we call upon him, when we go to him with our anxieties, Jesus can help us by changing the situation. He can help us by bringing good out of the anxieties, out of our worries. And Jesus can bring us comfort when nothing seems to be getting better. Come to me, all you who labor and are burdened, and I will give you rest, says the Lord. We also learn in the gospel today that Jesus spoke as one with authority. Authority over what exactly? In today's gospel, authority over unclean spirits. In other places, we see Jesus with authority over illness, over sin, and even over death. With our anxieties, we go to Jesus. Not all our problems go away, but we are given strength, and we are given comfort to know that now or later, all will be well. So where do we find him? I've got anxieties. I want to go to Jesus. Where is he? We can go to Jesus in prayer here in the church or in the quiet of our home. If we're anxious about sin, we go to Jesus in the confessional. Many second graders in our parish and many of those in RCIA are preparing to go to him in Holy Communion for the first time. Many of our teenagers are going to him in the sacrament of confirmation. But all of us, for you and me, we have the great privilege to go to Jesus every Sunday in the Eucharist. He's right here. For your meditation, I want to give you two great quotes from one of my favorite saints. As we get to know each other over the course of years, you'll know that I love the saints and have a few favorites that I'll probably quote frequently. The great 20th century Spanish priest, St. Jose Maria Escriva, is one of my favorites. He also happens to be very quotable. He once said, "When you approach the tabernacle, remember that he's been waiting for you for 20 centuries. When you approach the tabernacle, remember that he's been waiting for you for 20 centuries." He also said, in speaking about our anxieties, if God gives you the burden, God will give you the strength. If God gives you the burden, God will give you the strength. With your cares, with your anxieties, we have recourse to all possible kinds of help, but only in Jesus do we find the peace and comfort that the world cannot give. I began today with a laundry list of things that might worry us, some bad news. Well, here's the good news, and it's the core gospel message. We call it the kerygma. Jesus died. Jesus rose from the dead. Jesus founded a church, this one. Jesus gives himself to us every Sunday in the Eucharist and has a deep desire to know us and for us to know him. He wants to lighten our burdens. He wants to take that which makes us anxious and take it with him to the cross. Whatever your worries, whatever your anxieties, they belong with him. Come to me, all you who labor and are burdened, and I will give you rest. Rest from our anxieties in Jesus Christ, truly present in the Eucharist.